Watching Bluey is definitely one of the most fun things to do. Especially if you pause the show at just the right moment. Did you know one of the funniest scenes happens in one of the most emotional episodes? If you've seen the episode Rain, you know that ending is really beautiful and even has a deeper meaning. But if we rewind to the beginning of the show, we'll see something that had me laughing out loud when I noticed it. When the rain starts and Bluey begins playing outside, she gets completely soaked. And despite being very loved, let's not forget she's a puppy, and whenever dogs get wet and come inside, it's a guaranteed mess of dirt and water everywhere, and Chili knows this. So Mom Healer tries her best to keep the eldest daughter from coming inside, and when it happens, if you pause at the right moment, you'll encounter this scene. Bluey looks hilarious! It's like she's looking both ways at once, and one of her arms is up, fingers all contorted, while the other is down, fingers equally mismatched if you look closely. Man, that's definitely a view of Bluey I've never seen before. Check out these 11 moments in Bluey that you should never have paused. Moving on to the episode Magic Asparagus. If you've watched it before, you know Bingo is one of the characters who pulls the funniest faces in it. But when I was watching the episode for the 5th time, I noticed something I had never seen before, and it was definitely one of the funniest things I've ever seen. As soon as Bluey starts the game and uses her asparagus to turn her younger sister into a pig, Bingo's face completely changes and she runs off at full speed. And if you pause the scene at that moment, you'll see the little pup running full tilt with her bottom up and her legs crossing underneath. Meanwhile, Bluey and Chili are watching the little dog. That's one of the funniest scenes I've seen in Bluey. Wish I had discovered it sooner.
You're kidding, right?
Now, let's look at a scene where Bluey's probable love of her life undergoes a kind of physical distortion in the episode Circus. We know in this episode Mackenzie is pretending to be a naughty lion, and then we have Hercules, who wants to play differently until Bluey convinces him to play with everyone and be the lion tamer, much to Mackenzie's dismay. Since he's much bigger and stronger than everyone else, he grabs Mackenzie and starts spinning him around. And if you pause at the right moment, you'll see the little border collie becoming a spinning black and white blur with his eyes bulging. You can imagine why the puppy got so dizzy when Hercules stopped spinning him, but it was hilarious for sure. Do you love cartoons, especially Bluey, just like I do? Imagine having Bluey and Bingo right in your home, ready to play with you. Or how about creating your own Bluey through painting in this delightful coloring book? And don't miss out on the best part, the Scavenger Hunt game, an incredible board game that I'm sure you'll enjoy as much as we do at Cinewave. If you've fallen in love with any of these, simply click the link in the pinned comment to get yours and have it delivered straight to your door. Moving on to the episode Cinema, we see that while Bluey wants to watch the Pink Monkey movie, she also wants to keep her eyes closed. Meanwhile, Bingo is completely focused on just making her dad's life miserable and having fun in the process. Or does she want to have fun and make her dad's life miserable in the process? Now I'm not so sure. The fact is, at one point she starts running through the cinema and Bandit goes after her, but because he's much bigger and clumsier, he ends up tripping and rolling down to the bottom of the cinema stairs. And when he first trips, the face he makes is really funny, where it looks like the girl's dad's teeth are completely crooked and his eyes wide open. And not only that, when he's about to hit the ground after rolling down the stairs, if you pause at the right moment, you'll see another funny scene. This time you'll notice a sequence where Bandit genuinely looks desperate, knowing he's definitely gonna feel a lot of pain at the end of this scene. I laughed a lot when I noticed that.
Sorry everyone. Stop running away!
We've talked about almost all the members of the Healer family, but one person is missing. Or should I say, one dog. Chili. But we've singled out one of the funniest scenes involving Bluey and Bingo's mom. In the episode Smoochy Kiss, the girls try to separate Bandit from their mom because now he belongs to them. But later, when they realize how gross he can be, they decide to flip the situation and protect Chili from her husband to prevent them from kissing. But in the middle of the scene, they discover that mom has morning breath like a lion. And when she breathes a bit of her morning breath on the girls and they discover some hidden terror in their own mom, they make a very funny scared face. If you look closely, you'll notice that even the girl's hair stands on end because Chili's breath is so stinky. Remember Bandit's face when he realizes he's about to fall down the cinema stairs? Well, it seems like one of his daughters inherited the same ability to make that face. That's because in the episode Flat Pack, when the girls are trying to get Bandit down the stairs as quickly as possible, if you pause at the right moment, you'll see the little blue pup making this face. And you'll notice that the shape of her mouth is very similar, but Bluey's eyes are much more dilated and funny in this image. We could almost say the apprentice has surpassed the master. It seems like Bluey is becoming more and more of an expert at making funny faces. That's because the next one is definitely going to surpass the last by a mile. In the episode Helicopter, Bluey invites several friends to play with her, including Winton, but the little English bulldog isn't enjoying the game and wants out. So they pretend Winton is falling from the helicopter and Bluey moves quickly to grab his arm. And if you pause at the right moment, you'll catch the time when Bluey's eyes take a very funny shape. Of course, this happens in just a quick frame, but it was enough to make me laugh because I'd never seen Bluey in such a strange way before. But you know what else is strange? Watching our videos all this time and still not being subscribed. So take this hint we're giving you and click the subscribe button down below if you're not already subscribed. Sometimes I feel a little guilty, but I have to admit one of the things that makes me laugh the most in the Blue Pup series is when Bandit gets the short end of the stick. And one of those times happens in the episode Hairdressers, where the girls kind of force Dad to take a bath to get rid of imaginary lice. The catch is, the water has to be cold. So Bandit turns on the water and we can clearly see the suffering on his face throughout several moments. But in one frame that passes by so quickly, almost too quick to catch unless you slow it down to super slow-mo, Bandit opens his mouth in a way I never thought he could, with his eyes wide open and fur standing on end from the cold. Like I said, as much as I feel sorry for Dad Healer, I couldn't help but burst out laughing when I saw that. Another really funny scene I found in Bluey was when I was watching the episode Exercise for the 4th time. In it, Bandit has 10 minutes to work out before work, but the girls have plans and want to exercise with Dad, who ends up using them as weights. And in one scene, he picks up the older daughter and sort of plays with her like she's a rocket. The detail is, when Bandit makes the turn with Bluey, look how funny it becomes. If you look closely, you'll notice that the little pup's eyes look very funny. Plus, it's very clear that the artists who make the show use some kind of cylinder to design all the characters, including the protagonist, because if you look where Bluey's legs start, you'll notice it's a rounded base. I definitely found this scene very funny. Remember what we talked about with Bandit? Yeah, it seems like the show's production chose him as the main target for teasing in episodes because we found another sinister moment involving Dad Healer. This time, it's a scene in the episode Cafe, where Bluey befriends Winnie and Bandit befriends Fabio, Winnie's dad. And as the girls are chasing the pair, they sneak through the park toys and end up at the slide. And when Chili's husband manages to stick his head out and get onto the slide, look at the scene we find if we pause at the right moment. Now tell me if Bluey's dad's 2 ears don't look like 2 horns. Plus, the character's snout looks completely different from what we're used to seeing, and his eyes are kind of oval. Bandit has definitely become a work of art, but in reverse. Seriously, seeing something like this, it's almost impossible not to laugh. Especially if you let the scene play out and see Bluey's dad accidentally headbutt Fabio's rear end, and Winnie's dad grimaces in pain at the same time. Seriously, it's so great to watch Bluey and at the same time have a good laugh at these super funny scenes, don't you think? And because we love to have fun just like you, we've picked out 2 really cool videos for you to enjoy with us on the channel. Click on whichever one you prefer, and I'll see you again soon. See you later!